With the first pick in the 2010 NBA Draft, the Washington Wizards select John Wall from the University of Kentucky.
As strong as that Kentucky program is, John Wall is the first Kentucky player ever selected #1 overall.
That's a surprise. Congratulations.
Jay Bilas, you've talked about him. He's the man. It's official.
Well, we're talking about an elite point guard prospect. Tremendous speed in the open floor, especially going north-south. He can get from end to end faster than any player that I can remember coming out in the NBA draft. He's got very good vision and very good finishing ability in the open court, and he's very instinctive in transition. He's got long arms. He's got a 6'9" wingspan, and with his speed, it allows you to play ahead of the defense. And this young man, I think, has got tremendous ability passing the ball. He can improve in half-court situations, but we talked about his instinct. That he can put the ball on the floor and get by people and get into the lane, and when he's challenged, make a play. I think he's got to get better at finishing at the rim when he's being challenged, but where I think he's really special and can be special is at the defensive end. He can make dynamic basket-saving plays. Now, we talked about being a good finisher. When I say good finisher, it's mostly in transition. In the half-court, I think he does need to improve his finishing, especially when he's challenged by a big guy. But you just don't find point guards with this kind of speed. I think he's going to be able to improve his shot. He makes open shots at a pretty decent rate. He makes his free throws, and he gets to the free throw line. I think he needs to improve his efficiency in the half court, and he turns the ball over a little bit too much. But again, we're talking about a teenager that's got a tremendous amount of potential, and he's a hard worker that wants to get better. That means a lot too.
All right, here's the reaction from the Wizards draft room when it was official. Everyone knew it was going to be, but here's the reaction when it became official. Top point guards pick #1 overall. John Wall joins a pretty select group. John Lucas, the first from Maryland in 1976 when the Rockets took him #1. Irvin Magic Johnson in 79. Allen Iverson in 96. 2 years ago, Derrick Rose out of Memphis. This year, it's John Wall, the 5th point guard in draft history to get pick #1. John Wall now with Mark Jones.
Yes, Stu, John Wall, well aware of the historical implications of him being chosen #1, said that he knew of John Lucas being picked #1 back in the day. John, congratulations. You look at the great lineage of Kentucky players throughout the years. What does it mean to be the first Kentucky player to ever be chosen #1 in the NBA draft?
It's a big honor. You know, they had a lot of guys like Ron Mercer, Derek Anderson, Jamal Mashburn to play there, and be the first player from Kentucky to be #1 means a lot.
You're going to a team in the Washington Wizards that last year went through a very tumultuous, very turbulent time. How do you move forward into a situation like that?
Basically, like going into Kentucky, you know, we had a new coaching staff, a new group of guys coming in with some returning guys, and basically just trying to build together and become like brothers, you know, work hard every day, try to get better, and we just got to develop it to come together as a team and we'll try to win games.
Number 11's retired. What number are you going to wear next year in Washington?
I don't know yet. I got to figure that out.
All right. Hey, Heather Cox, speaking of important numbers, he was a 3.5 GPA last semester, too. Over to you.
Yeah, very proud mama for many reasons, joined by Francis Pullian. Francis, John admitted to me that he struggled quite a bit when his dad passed away when he was a young boy. How did you use basketball to keep him focused and get him to this point?
I told him he had to get his attitude together and get straight, or you won't be playing ball.
Now, John yesterday said because of all the sacrifices that you've made, he wanted to do something special for you. So when he signed his shoe deal, he bought you a house. But tonight takes it to a whole new level. How are you able to wrap your arms around the way that your family's life is about to change?
I don't know how to say thank you.
Certainly a very emotional day, and happy belated birthday to you. You celebrated your birthday on Monday, and guys, she got to pick out John's suit as a present. Thanks, Francis.
He is the 3rd freshman selected overall in the last 4 years. John Calipari, you see him there.
With the 5th pick in the 2010 NBA Draft, the Sacramento Kings select DeMarcus Cousins from the University of Kentucky.
DeMarcus Cousins, the big fella out of Kentucky, 6'11", 292 pounds. He becomes the third freshman selected in the top 5 picks of the draft. You see his coach, John Calipari, and get used to Kentucky players being drafted, because so far it's 2 in the first 5. There are 3 others who could go in the first round. The All-American this year, 15 points, 10 rebounds a game. Jay Bilas, you love his talent, don't you?
Amazing talent. I mean, he is the most talented, the most productive, and the most efficient big man in this draft. He is a load at 6'10 and a half, 292 pounds. He's got a wingspan at over 7'5", and he uses it. I mean, this guy is long, and he is incredibly strong. When he goes up for the ball, he's got great hands. I mean, he can second jump. He's got terrific feet, but he is a really productive rebounder. You know, you mentioned the amount of rebounds, 10 per game that he grabs. He only plays 23 minutes per game. And when you talk about productive rebounders, the really productive one grabs a rebound once every 3 minutes. He grabs one once every 2 minutes. I mean, he is super productive as a rebounder. He's got really good hands and a really nice touch. He can step away a little bit. Shot the ball pretty well in some of his workouts. Some others didn't. But he's got a good feel for the game, and he's got really good feet. I mean, he can spin in the lane. He can step away and put the ball on the deck and get to the basket. I think when he puts his mind to getting his body in a little bit better shape, and you know, the issue is maturity. We've talked this to death. It's all on his racket now. I mean, DeMarcus Cousins can be as good as he wants to be, and the only thing that can stop him from being an outstanding and a great NBA player and leading the league in rebounding and being one of the elite big guys is himself. And I wish him the absolute best. I've worked with him, and he's got it in him to do this.
Some of the lasting images that we've seen DeMarcus this past season yelling at his coach, John Calipari, at each other, really. But as he told us, hey, it's like a father-son relationship. Heather Cox now is with Coach Calipari.
And I'm happy to report no yelling whatsoever. 3rd consecutive year that Coach Calipari has had a player that you've coached drafted in the top 5, already 2 tonight. But as we've heard, there are some issues about DeMarcus's, really his maturity and his work ethic. But nobody knows better than a coach. What is the truth around those red flags?
It's all unfounded. I mean, we had some back and forth because it was coming from me. He's a great young man. My wife, I know Miss Monica's crying right now, but so is my wife, because she thought he was her son. So he's a great young man. He's going to have a great future. And Sacramento now with Tyreek and DeMarcus, it kind of gets scary out west.
Now tonight you have 5 underclassmen that, instead of returning to Kentucky to play for you and hopefully make a run for a title, are headed to the NBA. Because of that, how bittersweet is tonight for you?
This is, I'd like to say, it's the biggest day in the history of Kentucky's program. You got Patrick Patterson sitting right here. You still have Eric Bledsoe and Daniel Orton to go. And so with 5 guys and the first #1 in the history of our school, this is a huge day, the biggest day for the University of Kentucky.
Coach, enjoy every second of it. Now let's head over to Mark Jones.
But, DeMarcus, you're wearing a little bit of purple. Did you know something was happening before the selection came out?
No, I didn't realize what was going on until I was at the table. And Coach Cal was like, you got on the purple shirt. You must know you was going to Sacramento. But no, I didn't realize it until just then.
Hey, we got you right here, right now. What's the biggest misconception that people in America have of DeMarcus Cousins?
Off the floor, and I'm nothing like that.
What are you like?
I'm a kid that just likes to have fun.
You told me earlier that you went from 296 to 285 pounds from after the season to now. What do you say to people that think that your weight might be a little bit of a concern in the pros?
I mean, that's their opinion, but I'm going to continue to work hard. I'm going to try to get better every day.
Congratulations. You look good rocking that purple, too.
Thank you.
Stu, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Mark Jones. Congratulations to DeMarcus. As for the Sacramento Kings, they have missed the playoffs in 4 straight years. This is what their lineup looked like last year. JB, you played in Sacramento for a long time. What do you think now of this team with Tyreek and DeMarcus? Tyreek Evans, they picked up Carl Landry from Houston, who I think is one of the most underrated players we have in the NBA. Samuel Dallenberg now over with this trade. So DeMarcus Cousins doesn't have to come in there and be an impact guy right away. He certainly can be if he plays up to his potential, but he's got time. He's got some guys to learn under, and I like what Sacramento's done. Evans is going to be great. They probably still need a point guard, maybe another shooter, but Sacramento certainly on their way back. They got beat up by really good teams last year. Against teams that had a 500 or better mark, the Kings were only 9-41 against them. All right, when you think about Sacramento out west, their coach, of course, saying, look out. A year look out, 2 years look out. What do you think?
Well, for me, you need to rebound the ball, and you need an interior presence to win in this league. I don't know about all the off-the-court issues of maturity. You can get a guy in shape. If he loves the game, he'll get in shape. If he loves to play, he'll be a good teammate. And you can't find guys who rebound the ball like this guy does.
And you can't find guys like Tyreek Evans, so he's going to a team with a great player.
With the 9th pick in the 2010 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Gordon Hayward from Butler University.
The Horizon League Player of the Year. The star of the NCAA tournament in a losing effort in one of the best championship games we've ever seen. Gordon Hayward going to the Utah Jazz. 15 points, 8 rebounds, led the team in both categories last season. Jay Billis, Gordon wasn't number 9 on your best player available list, was he?
No, actually he was number 13, but he's a very skilled player that has an exceptional basketball IQ. Stu, he knows how to play. And he was really fun to watch when he was at Butler. He's got a terrific left hand. He can go off the dribble, surprisingly good off pick and roll situations. When he puts the ball on the deck, he's got an ability to pass the ball. He plays with good pace. He's got hesitation moves. He's got a great left hand. Not a good one, but a great one. You see him using a little crossover, putting it between his legs with a step back, and there he's pulling up in transition. Very good in transition. I'm not sure he's an elite shooter. He's a guy shot the ball relatively poorly, frankly, from three-point range last year, under 30% from the college three. But he's a playmaking small forward. Pretty good defensively. I think he needs to get stronger. At least in college, he was good defensively. I think he's going to have a few issues in the pros. He's not a super athlete, although he is athletic. So the issue is he athletic enough to guard a 3? He's not strong enough, in my judgment, to guard a 4. And he reminds me a little bit of Luke Jackson when he came out of Oregon. You question his ability. He's not a great shooter. He's not a super athletic defender. But I'll tell you what, the kid knows how to play, and he comes to play every single day.
If you had told somebody that Gordon Hayward was going to the NBA when he was in 8th grade, they would have laughed at you. He was 5 feet 4.5 tall in 8th grade. 4 years later, by the time he left high school, he had grown to 6'8". He went to Butler, and he only turns out to be the highest player ever drafted out of Butler. Now he's hanging out with our man Mark Jones.
Yes, Stu, Gordon was telling me he was 5'11" as a freshman. At what point did this NBA dream become reality? When did you really think you had a chance to be in the league?
Well, it was sitting down with Coach Stevens, head coach at Butler, during my recruitment process, and he sat me down and he said, look, you have some potential. There's going to be a lot of challenges, but I think if you work hard, you can maybe play at the next level.
You told me when you worked out for the Utah Jazz, you had a chance to meet with their head coach, Jerry Sloan. What was that like?
It was great. I mean, you watch him growing up. He's been in the league for so many years, and a guy that's been doing what he's been doing for so long, it was, awestruck at first. But they have such a great organization there, so I'm excited for sure.
Well, Gordon, pretty soon you won't have to share that minivan you were telling me
That's
about.
Right.
With
That's
your
right.
sister, Heather Cox, standing by with a family member or two.
Indeed, the twin sister, Heather. Now, you guys know each other so well. In fact, when you guys were both 5, Gordon actually asked your dad to help him write down his goals. One of those, amazingly, was to play in the NBA. At what point did you know that Gordon was something special?
Probably when Gordon went to Butler. It was a dream come true first to go to Butler, and then this past NCAA tournament. It was just surreal, and we didn't know what to do, and I was like, wow, that's my brother. He's pretty awesome. So.
And you guys went to Butler together. In fact, you played tennis there. You guys grew up playing tennis against one another, very competitive. So between the two of you, who's the best athlete and who's the most competitive?
Gordon is the better athlete, but I think we're both competitive. Go play and both get mad, whoever loses. So we're both really competitive, but I'll give him the better athlete.
All right, but I've got to believe you've got some game. Congratulations. Stu?
Usually this time in the draft, we're talking about teams that just really didn't do well the season before. The Jazz always do well. This was their depth chart this past season. They went 53-29. They lost in the conference finals. Darren Williams, arguably the best point guard in the league. Carlos Boozer, you see him forward there, but he, of course, is a free agent. Guys, Utah's always good. Does Gordon Hayward make them better right now?
Well, I don't think he has to make him better right now. First of all, I think he should split the money with his twin sister. If you're twins, you should split your salary.
Makes
sense,
number
right?
one. Okay.
But I think Kirilenko, with Boozer maybe leaving in free agency, he may move back to where I think he's best at the 4. I think Hayward will play behind C.J. Miles, who had a very good year. So I don't think he needs to be great early, and I think he can develop and grow into his game. But I think the system there is right for him.
Yeah, well, I think the Utah Jazz do a tremendous job. I mean, you talk about Kirilenko. They brought in Wesley Matthews last year, an undrafted player, winds up starting for this team that goes to the conference finals. I think this is a great pick. This guy's going to develop, and like you said, the system can make a player, and I think this guy can play in any system.
Of course, Utah's coach, Jerry Sloan, the longest tenured head coach in North American major sports. All right, the Indiana Pacers are on the clock. Interestingly, Indiana, the home to Gordon Hayward. A lot of people thought he might go to the Pacers. He's already gone. Pacers, 31 wins, fewest last season since the '89 season. They missed the playoffs for the 4th consecutive year. But Danny Granger became the 2nd player in team history with 100 3-point shots in 4 straight seasons. Of course, the first one was the guy that Gordon Hayward would watch growing up, Reggie Miller, has more threes than anybody in the history of the game. Indiana, of course, Butler University is there. It was the site of the NCAA championship. What kind of player do you think the Pacers might be looking for?
Well, I think
we'll talk about that in a second.
What point do we have out there, Jay?
Nobody they're going to take right now.
Yeah.
They
need a point guard.
David Stern with the pick.
With the 10th pick in the 2010 NBA draft, the Indiana Pacers select Paul George of Fresno State University.
Paul George from Fresno State, 6'9", 214 pounds, almost 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 steals a game. He led the team in all those categories this past season. He originally signed with Pepperdine out of high school before a coaching change compelled him to transfer to Fresno State. What kind of player is he, Jay Billis?
You know, Stu, he's a little bit of a late bloomer. A guy who's 6'8". He's got a 6'11" wingspan, so he's long. He's very versatile. He's got all the tools. He's got a very good shooting stroke. He's got good quickness. He's got speed, and he's improved over the last year and a half. He's improved as a finisher. He's improved as a free throw shooter. And he's a 91% free throw shooter last season. I think the people that may have questions about him will say, well, wait a minute, why wasn't he more dominant at Fresno State? He's a maturing player. He's a guy that's figuring it out. And, you know, when you're considering drafting guys that have been freshmen and all that stuff, you know, he's got potential to get better and better and better. One of the question marks that he has is shot selection. He takes a lot of difficult shots, a lot of jump shots, and he can get to the rim, I think, more often than he does attacking off the dribble. He turns it over at a pretty high rate, over 3 turnovers per game. But he's got skills, and he's got a lot of potential. You know, he had a few bad games last year in big games, and, you know, that raised a couple question marks. But his potential is undeniable, and I think that's why Indiana took him, because of the upside potential he's got for the future.
Like Gordon Hayward before him, Paul George comes from a family of athletes. One sister played basketball at Pepperdine. Another sister played volleyball at CSU San Bernardino. But the brother, Paul George, got drafted tonight. He is now with our Mark Jones.
All right, Paul George, one scout reportedly said, in 5 years, you'll be the best player in this draft class. Why do you think he said that?
I mean, I just feel like I got a lot of potential to continue to grow. And, you know, I think just getting put in this system and this organization with Indiana, you know, I think the sky's the limit. And I really want to work to reach my full potential.
What does it feel like to have your father, who's never flown before, never even gotten on a plane before, get on a plane from Cali, fly to New York City for this big event for you?
He's probably over there laughing right now. Man, this means so much to me. You know,
how did he do on the flight?
He did all right. He did all right. You know, he said it wasn't that bad. He could see himself flying more.
Well, he might be following you around with the Indiana Pacers. And thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you.
Stu, back to you.
All right, he's the third.